Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here once again to do another One Piece chapter review. Chapter 1070, The Strongest Form of Humanity. Let's see, this is going to be like my last probably stream of the year, reviewing this One Piece being the last manga review. And probably I'll also try and make this the last time I review a manga series like the way I've been doing now, and probably try something more different in the new year. Well, let's try and make the streams go by a bit quicker, but yes. But for now, let's see. I'm just going to do it in my old last format, at least I think it is. But anyway, One Piece chapter 1070, the strongest forms of humanity. In which, before that, we've got the latest Gemma's 66 Hour Emotionless Excursion, volume 27. The promising scientists brought together for the sake of mankind and the world, which is probably obviously a lie because half of them are criminals. But yeah, we see a young Vegapunk. We see arguably the original main four Mads that we know of, and then a fifth mysterious woman. We see young Vegapunk. Caesar Clown, Queen, Judge, and mysterious woman who many are predicting might be Stussy, which might explain a little bit about her history, how she seems to know a bit of Vegapunk and the island and all that stuff. Not to mention that she seems to be able to keep her appearance well despite her age from the teasing from the Brooker. So that does imply, and I also want to mention that Brooker did imply some familiarity with her. There's also a bunch of other scientists around them, but clearly he's like the main five. But yeah. But Queen is a lot more. It's interesting to see how a bit more muscular Queen was in his youth. Who knows? He might have actually been a bit more of a ladies' man then. But then again, he says if I lose all that, all right, he'd be too popular. But then again, he seemed to have become a bit skinnier. I know. Let's see. But yeah, he probably didn't age well in his late 50s in some regards. Caesar looks a bit more privileged. Let's see. Vegapunk kind of looks like a. They kind of look like Mafia, to be honest. I do like Vegapunk's punk glasses. It's kind of weird seeing him without a beard. Judge looks a bit more like apparently fake Sanji. Looks like he really doesn't look like his son and all that stuff. And his eyebrows aren't curly, so that's laid to some questions. And yeah, that look, and the woman, it's mostly got a coat around her, so we don't have a. And not to mention the back, so we can't have an idea about it seems. But yeah, these are arguably the main five scientists. And who knows? It's very possible that if Stussy is one of them, that could be rather helpful for the world government later. Bless me, sorry. And who knows? I still think they'll have some. The world government will have some alternative to replacing Vegapunk as a scientist, so they want to control the Saffron and all that sort of technology. But anyway, on to the summary of the chapter. Luffy runs towards Santa Mora Concern, stupid on the Max Boy and all that stuff, apologizing for the fact that he seems to have distracted him, causing him to be damaged. But he says it's not the case, as he did notice Rob Lucci, but Rob Lucci is just stronger than he thought it was, and we see the flashback of when he tried to block his attack. Well, Rob Lucci just saying how Setomore's been too stubborn to be unconscious now, so just to ask him to just get out and be knocked unconscious so he can take control of the Saffron already. Let's see. And he's about to finish him off because they need to control the Saffron and all that stuff, and they can't do so without him. When Sentamore's trying to block himself, Luffy ends up just punching him, using a new move called the Gum Gum Dawn Whip. Flipping might be an old move, but it could be just been a while since I've checked with Luffy's fighting styles. But using his legs to spin around like a whip, spinning like the Tasmanian devil, if you will. Let's see. Which the unlock with his with Rob Lucci's crew. Let's see. CP's own agents being concerned. Let's see. With Chopper Jimbo saying Luffy that they need to hurry, as if they don't get her to Vegapunk soon, they won't be able to save Atlas. Luffy, on the other hand, can't stop spinning with Chopper the shock where he's going as he's spinning down to ground like the Tasmanian devil. Let's see, as you see more of the citizens fleeing to evacuate the, let's see, to the factory and all that stuff. Anyway, we see Hawkeye, Hawkeye Sephram slashing up world government agents. Jimba, the S Shark one, flooding them with like the swim fruit and all that stuff. It kind of reminds me of the Mochi Mochi, the way it's been shown here. Let's see. With Kaku commenting about how strong the Sephram are, they're not holding back. And Stussy commenting that these Sephram are only in their child stage, so it just goes to show this is the power they can do while that young. Imagine what happens when they grow. Anyway, Frankie ends up asking Vegapunk, given the fact that the S Shark is using Senior Pink's powers of the swim fruit, he's just wondering if that means his brother in arms, Ritzy, is dead and all that stuff. You can see him crying, but I believe the hold on, let me see which Vegapunk that is. I believe that one is that one's number 4. So that one I believe is Piper Gophers that's commenting about the fact that that's the prisoner that's currently in Imperial Down and all that stuff, which confuses Frank at first, but says as he wonders that means Vegapunk created the same devil fruit. But Vegapunk says that only the zone type devil fruits can be actually artificially produced. Let's see, though he also says that they probably should also rule out, though, of course, let's see, there's also Caesar's way of doing it, but he'd rather rule that out. Let's see. With Nami just with his hatred of Caesar just saying how that guy deserves to die for that. Let's see, with Vegapunk Company saying that all fruits of that type, even the special ones, can be probably recreated with like enough money and time and all that stuff. Though he hasn't confirmed that the devil fruits can be awakened or not. So I'm not sure if that means just the artificial ones, or just the regular zonins or the mythical awakenings, but and he talks about how he tried everything he could with low gears, but it proved to be difficult. But Frankie is probably thinking that, what about Kizaru's lasers with the Pathistas and all that stuff? And he said, but it's also learning from the power that Vegapunk has found a way for the Paramecia types that, as long as they have like the user's bloodline elements, they can synthesize and create a special kind of blood that allows P to confer the power to other beings and all that stuff. Which in that, and he says that's the green liquid that's running through the Sephram's arms, which he calls green blood, which shocks Frankie at the fact that Vegapunk was able to make his own blood. Let's see, and we get another example of one of the devil fruits being used as the Sephram Bow Hancock, or the S-Snake, is using the Love fruit, mellow attack on some CP0 agents, freezing them, and this this caused a bit of controversy on social media. You could probably understand why. I'll get to that later. And we cut down to ES Bear or Kuma, Sephram. As Vegapunk, as he's using his USA shock on the CP0 agents, as Vegapunk explains that the Zeph apparently represent the highest echelon of science that has been achieved in all of the history of the sea and all that stuff, and saying how they're the strongest forms of humanity. With Nami realizing that, okay, so that's why they got rid of the 7 warlords. And Usopp complaining, why did he have to make so many of them? And Frankie says, go, loved heart eyes and just sparkling at amazement of Vegapunk's genius. But Sanji confirms that, these are weapons designed for the Navy. and Boa Hancock and Nico Robin realizing that they're going to be a threat to them. Let's see. Anyway, we cut back to Luffy's battle against Rob Lucci. We see an explosion from the from the fight. I think Luffy is pushed. Let's see Rob Lucci to a wall, and you can see his the print on the wall damage, like you see in the cartoons of someone pushing far back and then them coming out of the hole, if you will. While some of the citizens are telling Sentomaru to run while they can, and Rob Lucci is going for another attack against him, which he, of course, Sentomaru tries to defend. I think he's about to use a move called Shave, but Luffy intervenes, charming into a giant head and eating things like Pac-Man, if you will, or like the Rumble Ball thing you get in the Mario games and all that stuff as he's laughing. Shocking Rob Lucci as he avoids Luffy's trying to chomp him, and then he's spitting out the rubble, which does end up hitting Rob Lucci, though he might be also punching through it and all that stuff. But Luffy ends up getting to one of those glass beam transport things. I think he's turning it into a rubbery stretching tube thing with his awakening abilities, going with a new ability called Gum Dawn Rocket, in which he takes a bit of his hair and turns into goggles. I can't recall, let's see, in the sort of like catapult like cartoon kind of thing that you probably see in Looney Tunes and other ones like it. I can't quite think of which one, as his fist goes flying, punching through Rob Lucci. You could see like part of his body stretching with like a punch and all that stuff, as Rob Lucci is just shocked about how strong Luffy is and all that stuff, and seems like he's losing conscience as Luffy's laughing at his punch. And this seemingly is probably the end of their fight, with Chopper and Jinbei with their like carrying Bonnie and Atlas, with Air Snake telling them where to hurry and all that stuff, saying pointing where the vacuum rocket is, telling them to get on. Jinbei thanking Air Snake, saying how she's much nicer than Hancock, but the Air Snake ends up talking a bit more, feeling blushing and embarrassment, acting probably like a bit of maybe some type of secondary personality, I think the spoilers described it as, but yeah, saying like, I'm only following orders, you idiots, nothing more. Embarrassed by the compliment and all that stuff. With the announcement saying that they're launching in 1 minute, with Chopper telling Luffy to hurry. As the warning says, please refrain from rushing the vehicle while you're now closing the door and all that stuff. As Sentomaru just tells Luffy that he's leaving Vegapunk in his hands, with Luffy saying that he can count on him and that he'll take him off the island for sure. As it's launching, and just as they manage to launch, Luffy arrives on time. Bonnie wakes up, and they're all feeling the speed of it, but Luffy's now turned to his old man self, as we see it from the result of using Gear 5. Bonnie confused where he is, but shocked by what Luffy looks like. But Jinbei says that Luffy can explain to her all this later. Hold on a second. As they zoom in from the Speedy 2 thing, that in a matter of 32 seconds to like the lab. And they're inside the lab now, with the announcement saying that the destination has arrived and any more trips have now been cancelled. And that the egg, had Lapphone strengthened the Frontier Dome, and that lockdown is imminent, as they're telling all researchers to be inside the factory and all that stuff, and that's when it will be fully locked down. Well, I think Kaku at least complimenting Sentomaru for his duty as being a bodyguard for Vegapunk, and he fulfilled it to the best of his abilities and all that stuff. Saying how it was a shame that it had to come to taking him out and all that stuff, as we finally see Sentomaru collapsed. With Stussy saying to Rob Lucci that they need to wait for the Navy and all that stuff. But but him is convinced that if that the Straw Hats will escape from Vegapunk, if they wait any longer, they should deal with it the best they can. Straw Hats are now able to confirm with this, and still a bit quite shocked though that they really are trying to kill Vegapunk and all that stuff, despite the fact that he is the greatest mind in the world. And it's like a huge loss to government. And Vegapunk points to the fact that, what would they do if they thought the world's greatest brain could turn against them and all that stuff? Though he had no intention of doing things, but Nami, in a sort of heartless manner, just goes like, "Oh, that's a good point," and thinks that Vegapunk would be a thorn in their side, and they should just ice him or get rid of him, if you will. And Usopp being shocked, like, "No, don't do that. That's evil, Nami," and all that stuff. But Vegapunk comments that it's probably, given the circumstances, it must be an act of fate that an Emperor's crew has arrived here. With Usopp and Frankie getting excited that he's going to actually ride on their ship, but Nami's like, "Isn't he dead, right?" And Frankie's just excited the fact he wants to show Vegapunk the Thousand Sunny and the General Frankie and all that stuff, though that might depend on which and all that stuff. And Shandy's just saying, "Would you just remove the shackles from us already?" Anyway, Luffy's just being amazed by the lab. And so you get scientists coming over to try and heal Atlas at once, with Jinbei thanking them for their work. And Chopper warning where Bonnie's going, and she says she's going to find Vegapunk and the man that she put her father back or not. Otherwise, if he doesn't answer to her satisfaction, she's going to release her. Let's see. And she's a bit angry at the fact that also apparently that, due to the fact that he also unleashed bugs on her, he's going to pay with that with possibly his life. With Luffy trying to say that it was not really his fault. Anyway, we see the CP0 have now got control of the Sephrons, as they're all lining up under their order, since they have now like the command chip, if you will. As they're giving out orders to block all exits from the island and all that stuff. With Lucci thinking that there's only 6 Vegabunks left to destroy. With Kaku commenting about how that defense is a real problem. With Rob Lucci saying that nothing will escape this island, not even an ant. And then we get to the final bit of the chapter in this double page, in which we see marine ships sailing, and that someone comments about how the Straw Hat crew has sided with Vegapunk, and it's revealed none other than to be, of course, Admiral Kizaru, saying that thinking that escape should be easy for them, but thinks that they may find that the events don't play out like they imagined, and they're going to proceed as planned. And says that they're going to send every battleship that they can to Egghead Island, ending the chapter. Oh boy, what a chapter! The second last chapter of the year. There's arguably one that's unofficially come out, but officially it probably won't come out until next year. But yeah, the early spoilers came. But this is arguably officially the last chapter that's come out of the year. It is interesting to learn that Sentomaru did actually have his guard up and did attempt to block Rob Lucci, but either that he didn't get fully prepared in time, or Rob Lucci is just that strong. But yeah, that must be a bit of a shame for the man who was said to have the strongest guard, though I think Kaido might be a much more tougher guard, but it's clear that at the very least, Rob Lucci is stronger than Sentomaru and all that stuff. But yeah, I do like how he tries his best to stay conscious, and when, he finally can't, he then entrusts Luffy to protect Vegapunk, and it's quite interesting how these two enemies who have had quite a few encounters with each other, at least three, Shadow Pelico, Marineford, even though they didn't go direct contact in that arc and all that stuff. If I can, it's been a while since I fully read Marineford, and returned to Shadow Pelico when he tried to arrest Luffy. But now, given the situation, he now must trust Luffy with his bosses and arguably sort of mentor figure's life and all that stuff. But yeah. Anyway, I do like how Rob Lucci does try to take out, tries to keep trying to go for Sentinel's life, check him out, but Luffy just stops him every time. And I do like Luffy's moves and all that stuff, like the Tasmanian spinning attack. I just love the sort of Looney Tune reference. But yeah, the main highlight one of course, is the fact that so the giant head, it was sort of like a Pac-Man Mario thing. I guess Oda must be a fan of those games, but again, they were probably made in Japan, I think. I know Mario is. I'm not sure about Pac-Man, but I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, but it's like Luffy turning into his giant form and having a giant head to eat and all that stuff. That's brilliant. But of course, I think the favorite one, which was kind of revealed early at the fun, I think some sort of jump fest, I believe. It's him stretching one of the transport tubes into a rubber catapult and then just launching himself like a rocket and just creating goggles out of his head. This is this perfect Luffy imagination of being wacky and goofy, and it's probably clear that this is what Oda wanted to do for a long time. Probably. Granted, let's see, there might be still debates on whether or not he could have done this with just having just Luffy's Gum Stew remain Paramecia type with a regular awakening and all that stuff, rather than Sun God Nika. But in a way, it's Luffy being Luffy, and that's honestly, just be glad at the very least. I mean, Luffy would probably have done this in early One Piece as well, and it's just brilliant. It's like you get all these. It just goes to show you just how creative Oda is with the Gear 5th, and it really is my favorite of the sort of Super Saiyan or Shonen power-ups, if you will, because you got all these serious badass transformations, and this one is just goofy and silly, but it's also very creative. So yeah, this is arguably Oda's probably done the best creative. Let's see in terms of power-up modes and all that stuff with Gear 5. Anyway, I just really like how both Jim and Chopper come on, hurry up, Luffy and all that stuff, and just being shocked by his antics as well, doing the thing. But yeah, but interesting. But yeah, but we also get a brief moment of some of the Sephiroth skills as they all easily take out a bunch of the CCP Cypher Pole agents and all that stuff, displaying their abilities. And I do like how Kaku and Stussy seem to comment on their power and the fact that they're only just on the children form, and they seem as powerful as the warlords in their adult forms, but when they actually become adults themselves, it's clearly going to be stronger. But this way, who knows? They might, they might end up being on the Admiral's level, maybe even stronger. I'm not sure about War Emperor level, but who knows? I mean, Hawkeye, many probably consider him to be on a bit of an Emperor level, especially because 5'9" bounty and all that stuff, because that was impressive. But granted, yeah, there's a bit of controversy, I think, with Hancock's one, because you got those Cypher Pole agents going heart eyes and all that stuff, and that's people's the last, and since it seemed that since when it works with our Hancock, it's the last, that stuff. So you got people thinking that all these Cypher Pole agents are creeps. Though apparently, I am told that I think Oda revealed in SSB that the Mero fruit technically apparently could be based on the different kinds of emotion rather than love or lust, really. And it might just be him being affected by just how apparently cute that young Boa Hancock is, but it's not really clear, and it doesn't look and it does look kind of like creepy out of context, really, if that's the case. But yeah, it doesn't look good from the way Oda's drawn the panel, but yeah. Which many are already commenting that they hope that Sanji does not go near the SS Snake as well. That will get a lot of people outraged at Sanji and all that stuff. But yeah, granted that might have happened with the One Piece C film, from my understanding. But it's best not to go there. But yeah, it is kind of. But yeah, it just goes to show that yeah, all the see for the most part, the Sephirim have the devil fruits of their let's see, with their original, let's see, of who they're copied from and all that stuff, with the exception of Jinbei, which, getting to Witsy, we get a sort of nice moment with Frankie just like crying like, what happened to Senior Pink? Is he dead? And all that stuff. I like how he's just concerned and wondering if he's died. But then, but we end up learning that, oh, he is in Imperial Down. So it's not just Doflamingo that's gone there. It seems to be that his entire crew has gone to Imperial Down. Now, what levels, I do not know. But here we get a bit more information about, let's see, replicating devil fruits. Apparently, only the Zonin types can actually be properly reproduced because of, like, the animal things. Though, granted, that's also, like, you can also count the smart method, but it's clear that Vegapunk does not approve of that method, given its unethical usage and given the fact it's a 1 out of 10 success. And I do like how we see a bit of Nami commenting that's in agreement about how and showing her hatred of Caesar, saying how that scumbag needs to die and all that stuff. So yeah, if the Straw Hats ever encounter Caesar again, I'm pretty certain half of them have a mind to beat him up for what he's done and all that stuff. But yeah, so yeah, so yeah, I expect someone to probably beat him up for what they did to the smart for like some of those Wano citizens, especially all those ones that ate the smart fruit. But yeah, that's interesting. Even though the artificial devil, let's see, some fruits can be recreated, even the mythical ones, though it takes a vast amount of time and money and all that stuff. And it's not confirmed that you're able to awaken with like an artificial sun and devil fruit and all that stuff. So who knows? That might be. So it goes to show that there are some limitations with the making of the fruits. It's interesting to think that he's tried all he can with Logias, but it seems like they prove too difficult and all that stuff. Now Frankie seems to comment that I think either shocked that Vegapunk can't do it, or probably thinking about the fact that the Pathficistas, at the very least, all have Kizaru's laser beams, so there seems to be he's able to do something with the lasers with like Kizaru and all that stuff, or at least just only with Kizaru's tape. But yeah, can use like a little bit of its power, and that's just shooting out just regular beams rather than all the stuff that Kizaru can probably do. It's interesting that the fact that the only reason that the Paramecias can only be replicated by extracting from the user's bloodline elements and creating this special kind of blood, which he calls green blood. That's the thing running through all their arms and all that stuff. I think Hawkeye has one as well, so that means that, yes, Hawk probably has some bloodline and all that stuff. And Frankie is just shocked that he's managed to create his own blood. And of course, like a comment, you see, let's see, you see Hancock and which, of course, like I said earlier, is controversial, and I kind of wish Oda was a bit more careful with this. Granted, let's see, the Sephiroth will probably will grow to be more older, so it probably won't be as problematic, because I think it's implied that they're going to grow to a more stage, but still, like I said, it's kind of iffy here. But yeah, but I'm getting back. I shouldn't really go move to the topic and all that stuff. And as he goes on to explain with this green blood and what he's managed to do with the Sephrons and all that stuff, about how they're the strongest form of humanity and all that stuff, created through science. So yeah, they're clearly like the ultimate enemies, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Straw Hats have. And interesting, I wouldn't be surprised that if It was interesting because many people suspected the Blackbeard pirates to be Red Sea crew members to be the final one-on-ones for the Straw Hats, but for all we know, let's see, they might be those guys might be the last pirate group the Straw Hats face. It's very well possible that if the final battle of the world government, the Seraphim might be the final opponents the Straw Hats end up fighting, along with, say, probably some of the admirals and other top marines. But we'll have to wait and see. As for possible matchups, who knows? I guess it depends on which Seraphim. I could probably see Brock fighting Gecko Moria just due to that history. Jinbei fighting Shark, Zoe possibly having a fight with a much stronger version of Hawkeye and all that stuff. Though it'll be interesting. Those are probably. Well, before we know, Hawkeye might be a combined form of all the enemies he's fought up to that point. Really, given the fact that he's fought, King. As the others, remains a bit unclear who they'd fight. Who knows? You probably have like Nami or Robin fighting the Boa Hancock one. Let's see, Bartholomew Kuma. Maybe Frankie, just due to the cyborg connection and all that stuff, and how he seems to take an interest in Kuma. Most of all, with the S Bear. Let's see. Then there's like if Doflamingo and I guess Crocodile's left. Who knows with those ones? Maybe Sanji would probably fight one of them. Maybe Nico Robin would go against the Crocodile one actually. But who knows? But who knows? It might not be exact matchups that we're all thinking, but who knows? I'm just guessing at the moment. But yeah, but I could be wrong with those matchups. But yeah, but due to these, let's see, but as the Straw Hats learn about this, it starts to make sense, and like Nami confirming, which probably all know that, yeah, let's see, with these kind of weapons, it's no surprise that they were able to, how Fujitora says that he could replace the warlords and all that stuff, when they have these much stronger versions of them that will probably be more obliged to obey their commands and all that stuff. I do like how Nami's just like, oh, so that's why. Let's see, Frankie just being amazed, Usopp being scared because of just how strong the opponents are. Let's see, and Sanji and Robin being concerned about how these are weapons for the Marines that could be used against them in the future. So yeah, there'll probably be a few matchups against the Straw Hats. In some ways, I always did sort of imagine that the Straw Hats would be all fighting all the Warlats at once and defeating them. At least that's what I used to thought during around the time of Marineford with those that were left, but the sort of how they fought CP9, but I thought that was no longer the case once the Warlords disbanded, but now it seems that might end up happening, but instead with the actual Warlords, the Seraphim, but yeah. But anyway, it's interesting that, though, the thing about Seraphim, it seems that they do have some personalities and emotions at the very least so far Boa Hancock is, who acts like a bit of a tsundere, like just being embarrassed by plays and just like insulting people when Jinbei comments about how nice she is with the original Boa Hancock. And that might lead to the theory that the Snake Boa Hancock might actually fall in love with Luffy, like the original Boa Hancock, if like her lineage factor were to reflect on the personality and all that stuff. We don't know if Boa Hancock was like that when she was younger, but who knows? But yeah, it's kind of funny how Jinbei remembers how not nice the original Boa Hancock is, at least with regards to him. No, he probably does know that she has a soft spot for Luffy, so I wouldn't be surprised if Jinbei eventually reveals to us Straw Hats that Boa Hancock is in love with Luffy. I can just imagine the reactions. Let's see, some of them being more shocked and Sanji being jealous. But yeah. Anyway, I do like how the whole speed thing, the transport thing, only takes like 30 seconds to travel. They got it going super fast. And I do like Bonnie's reaction to like the old man Luffy thing. And it seemed to be like Luffy's main weakness for like Gear 5 and all that stuff. And I wonder if that weakness will be something he's willing to put up with a lot, because it seems like he wants to turn into Gear 5 as much as possible. That could just be Oda showing off. We have no idea if any of the other gears will return, but this will probably prove to be a bit of a weakness if Luffy doesn't find a way to counter it at some point. But yeah, but it's everyone. But it's nice to know that once everyone's back inside the fit, into the Egghead fit, let's see, factory and all that stuff. It'll be locked down and all that stuff. But yeah, I do like how Kaku praises Sentomaru for his duty to the very end. Even though he betrayed the world government, he did serve as Vegapunk's bodyguard to the best of his abilities. But now he's out and cold. Whether or not he's dead, I doubt it, just because of Oda's usually doesn't kill off characters, but I could be wrong. But at the moment, Itzy Sentomaru is down for the count at the very least. But yeah. I do like how Rob Lucci is just determined to try and take out the Straw Hats as much as possible. Doesn't want to wait for the Navy and thinks that they'll escape if they waste time. And when he gets like control of the Saffron, so it's like it was nice to see they were first seemingly on the Straw Hat side, but now they switched. Now that the CP0 agent's in control, they could switch back, but that could be endangering the Vegapunk. So yeah, the Straw Hats now have 7 powerful enemies to deal with like the 8 members that are there. There's at least one person for each of them to fight. Though Luffy has already beaten Rob Lucci, so yeah. But of course, that seems to be another enemy coming in along the way. But yeah. I do like the conversation Vegapunk has with the Straw Hats with them. Let's see, to come to the realization that the world government is trying to kill them. And Vegapunk does make the good point about how if you thought the Greatest Brain could turn against you, you would eliminated them. Though it does make it clear that he wasn't going to ever turn against them. So yeah, it seems that he was perfectly fine with working with the government even now and all that stuff. But now that they're going to try and take out his life and all that stuff, he has no choice but to defect and all that stuff. Now Nami ends up being quite cold by saying how they should probably just get rid of Vegapunk because he might just be too much of a hassle. I do like Usopp's response and all that stuff. And I do like how let's see, it's interesting. Let's see, because this is talking about, because once again you have One Piece talking about possibly fate or chance, if you will, and it's never really been clear whether or not it's actually fate or just by luck that Horus goes by. But yeah, but it's clear that Vegapunk's just grateful that there's an Empress crew to take him on. I do like seeing the Straw Hats' reactions to this. Frankie and Usopp, of course, being excited with Frankie really wanting to show him the stuff that he's made. I am curious to see how Vegapunk will react to it. I think you'll probably recognize Frankie from his designs, maybe, or being based off his designs. But you'll probably be impressed with the Vowels and Sunny, but who knows? Everyone is expecting him to make some upgrades to that stuff. Nami, let's see. Doesn't really want Vegapunk to come on because he might be dead weight. And Sanji is just like, just take the boot, just deactivate the boots now. It's like, that's his only priority there and all that stuff. But yeah, of course, Vegapunk, of course, we'll see Vegapunk having to deal with probably another problem besides the world government, and that's Bonnie wanting to kill him and all that stuff. Let's see, because she's still determined to get an answer from Vegapunk, and she's even more mad now for the fact that apparently she's blaming like the bugs coming after her and all that stuff, even though Luffy tries to explain that wasn't really his fault and all that stuff. But it's interesting that Atlas is trying to be repaired, so it's clear that Atlas is still being alive and is planning to try and bring her along and all that stuff. But yeah, but of course we're now seeing Kizaru, who is who is bringing as demanding all Marine forces available there. So yeah, it's clear that Egghead is turning into a battle, and arguably the first battle in probably the final war with the Marines and all that stuff. I've seen some YouTube videos coming that the war against the Marines has already started with this incident, and honestly, I think that's probably for the best, because I think one of the biggest problems I've noticed with war arcs, full-scale war ones, is the fact that they try and save it all in one big mega arc, and it only lasts a few days, and it doesn't really feel like that feels like what a proper full-scale war is going on. But it seems like if this is like the beginning of the war against the world government, it seems that there's going to be battles going on all over the place, and this is all going to be these loosely connected battles are going to be part of a bigger war. So yeah, I think One Piece is doing well in that regards. So yeah. Let's see, Vegapunk's let's see, Kizaru, whatever his original purpose is there, he realizes that Vegapunk is siding with the Straw Hats. Well, he does think that arguably it should be easy for an Emperor Screw to escape, but of course, he doesn't think that they play out like I imagine, and it's clearly him referring to, let's see, him coming over. In many ways, this is sort of a rare submission of like the Straw Hats trying to escape Shalabody after Luffy punched like St. Charles, that world noble and all that stuff, and Kizaru came in and prevented their escape and all that stuff, and they would have lost their lives against him if not for Kuma sending them all away and all that stuff. But yeah. But it looks like the Straw Hats are having a rematch against Kizaru round 2. And arguably this time Luffy is probably will probably be fighting him, and this time he'll be determined to win. And yeah, I've probably mentioned this before, but yeah, like I mentioned before, this seems to be like the perfect opponent for Luffy to fight after beating Kaido and all that stuff. Not to mention, it's a sort of parallel to like the first arc in the final saga from the pre-time skip. But yeah, overall, good chapter. I enjoyed the stuff. I'd probably give it a 9 to 9.5 out of 10. The only reason I'm not giving a 10 out of 10 is because that one bit with the Boa Hancock would lead to some very questionable implications. Granted, it might just be they just thinking that the young Boa Hancock is cute and not in the what most people would do with the adult Boa Hancock, but still, it's like so that probably needs some clearing up, but probably maybe best that I don't have the answer if that's the case. But yeah, but yeah, I do like Luffy versus Rob Lucci, and it's clear. Let's see, clearly that Luffy is just too powerful for him, as Rob Lucci wasn't able to land a hit on Luffy, and of course he easily beated him and all that stuff. I like the silly, goofy antics. We end up learning like what extent can Devil Fruits being copied. Most of the Zonins, but they might not be able to awaken. Loki, let's see, that seems to be near impossible. And Paramecia's, they need the special green blood from the lineage elements and all that stuff. And let's see, stakes against the Straw Hats raised, and of course, Kizaru bringing as many marine ships coming in. How the Straw Hats are going to escape remains to be seen, but yeah, but clearly a big battle is taking place, at least is about to take place. We've already gone to see the first clash of it, probably with Luffy versus Rob Lucci. We'll just have to wait and see where it goes, but yeah. Well, that's my last chapter review of the year. I hope those who have listened to this enjoy what I have to say. Let's see. In the new year, I'll probably try and do my reviews a bit differently, but for now, I am Blue Star Saber, signing off. For those who have listened, thank you for your time, and goodbye. Happy New Year, and see you all soon.